Hello everyone, welcome to this session. Chapter is transportation of materials in living things. And today let's see the experiments to demonstrate osmosis and diffusion. So basically we're going to discuss these various experiments that are there just to show how osmosis and diffusion take place. So we'll start with our first part that we're going to discuss the demonstration of process of diffusion. So in here, we're going to see the experiment how you can see diffusion taking place. So let's see the various procedures. Here are the procedures. Just simply, this is a simple procedure on how you can see the diffusion taking place. Just take a bottle of perfume and move to one corner of the room. Now after that, just open a bottle and observe what happens. Now the result is that you see that the result is after a few seconds, the whole room is filled with that kind of smell of that perfume. So this proves that from that you can say that this means that the whole molecules of the perfumes they've just moved from the region of high concentration that is within the bottle to the region of low concentration that is the air. So that is why the smell is felt by a person standing maybe several meters away from the source of the perfume. So that's the simple demonstration on how you can see this process of diffusion. Now, some important processes or some important things that happen or that are involved in the diffusion process, they are as follows. The first one, that the gaseous exchange in the lungs of the animal. Uh, and in the leaves of the plants. So here are just some important processes whereby in our daily life where we can see them whereby this diffusion process takes place. So this is the first one, that gaseous exchange in the lungs of animals. It requires this process of diffusion, and also the gaseous exchange in the leaves of the plants. The other process, the absorption of digested food in the ileum. The process of diffusion is required. So this is the other process that requires the diffusion process, the absorption process that occurs within the digestive system. Uh, the other one is that the removal of the waste materials from the cells. So waste materials, we are talking about the unwanted metabolic materials from the cells. They can be removed by the process of the diffusion. And the absorption of nutrients and the oxygen into the cells also can require this process of diffusion. So here are just some important processes that involve the diffusion process. Now moving on, let's see the demonstration of the process of the osmosis. So we've covered the diffusion process, how you can demonstrate it. So let's see the process of the osmosis, how it is demonstrated. Let's see the procedures. Uh, The first procedure is that peel a potato and cut it as shown in the diagram. We'll see the diagram or how it shows the peeled potatoes. Then fill the depression with the brine, that is the concentrated solution of the sodium chloride. After filling it, leave the setup until the next day, and you can observe what happens to the level of the brine in the potato. Now here is the diagram that is showing this procedure, what happens. So for the first day, as you can see, you peel the potato and you cut it as we've seen here. Then we've filled it with this kind of a depression. This is our depression here. We've filled it with the brine, that is the concentrated solution of sodium chloride. Then we've left this kind of thing just for a single day. Then we will observe what happens, and what happens is can see here the levels of the brine has increased. So the result, as from the diagram, in the following day you will find that the level of the brine will have risen as shown in the diagram. Now this means that the water has moved from the potato to the brine. So there are kinds of water molecules that are found within the potato. So as the days went, that the level of the water that within the potato has moved due to the brine solution, causing the brine level to rise up, as we had already seen it. Now the water has moved from a region of high water concentration, that is the potato, through the cell membranes of the potato cells, that is the partial permeable membrane. As we said that the osmosis process occurs, as in a result there is always some kind of a a permeable membrane that requires the movement of the molecules. The region of low water concentration, that is the brine. So that's the demonstration of the osmosis process. Now let's see the differences between the diffusion and the osmosis. So here are some of them. Here we have this table that shows the difference between these two. This side there's diffusion, the other side there's osmosis. So in diffusion, this is the movement of all the types of the substances from the area of their high concentration to the area of their low concentration. While when you're talking about the osmosis, it's simply the movement of the only solvent or water from the area of the higher concentration to the area of their low concentration through a partial permeable membrane. So here the first here is the first difference between these two by talking with about their differences in these two. I mean by talking about their meanings between these two. The other one is that diffusion can operate in any medium, while the osmosis yes operates only in a liquid medium. So yes, the other difference between these two, the other one that the diffusion is applicable to all types of the substances. We are talking about the solids, liquids, and the gases. So all states of the substances they can have this kind of a process that the diffusion, but in terms of osmosis it is only applicable to the solvent part of the solution. The other one that the diffusion it does not require any semi-permeable membrane, while when we're talking about the osmosis, a semi-permeable membrane is the one that is for it must be there for the operation to take place. There are other differences. In diffusion, it is purely dependent upon the free energy of the diffusing substances, while osmosis is dependent upon the degree of the reduction of the this free energy of one solvent over that of another. So that's the other difference. And the other one that it helps in equalizing the concentration, this diffusion process, it helps in equalizing the concentration of the diffusing substances throughout the available space. While when you're talking about the osmosis, it does not equalize the concentration of solvent on the two sides of the system, but it just moves according to the concentration. Uh, in diffusion, the turbo pressure or the hydrostatic pressure does not normally operate in diffusion, while in osmosis, it is opposed by turbo or hydrostatic pressure of system. Rather than in diffusion, it is not influenced by solid potential, while osmosis is very dependent upon the solid potential. Moving on, the other differences between these two, diffusion of a substance is mostly dependent of the presence of the other substances, while when we're talking about the osmosis, it is dependent upon the number of the particles of the other substances that dissolved in a liquid. And the other one that's factors like in diffusion, factors like water potential, solute potential, and pressure potential, they do not affect this process, while osmosis factors like these water potential, solute potential, and pressure potential, they directly affect the osmosis in a living system. So that's all I have for this session. I hope that's clear, everyone. We've discussed the demonstrations of the osmosis and the diffusion processes. We've seen how to experiment to see how these two processes take place, and then we've seen the differences between these two, osmosis and diffusion. Hope that's all clear, and thank you.